Did you know that sins did not happen very often in the Bible? Generations went by after a sin where they were responsible for that sin for years and years and years, and they had indifference or lack of justice or lack of concern or lack of being righteous about what happened. But the sins didn't happen. And today on the news, journalists and TV presenters talk about sins all the time. Negative things, cancer, death, divorce, robbery in supermarkets. They talk about something happening every day, and it's most of it they're making it up because they're trying to address the problem of being born under the blood of Abel. But when Abel was murdered, there wasn't another murder. There was just a lack of judgment and people not caring. And that was the sin. And it built up and built up to affect the climate of people's hearts and how their attitude. And that was the sin. But the actual sin, the murder, hardly ever happened. Sins were very few and far between in the Bible, and people shouldn't be talking about sins on the television every day because they're not real and it doesn't address the problem. To address the problem, Jesus came and died because of the blood of Abel being vengeance against his murder, and people not caring about him and not caring to punish Cain for it. And that's why Jesus came and died, because of the injustice and wanting to give an example to people. But talking about the problem all the time is not what Jesus did. Jesus came and did something about it and preached the gospel and told good news to people. And most of these things on the television aren't actually happening. They just talk about it every day because they think they're addressing the problem. But the Bible is not a book full of stories of sins all the time. Sins hardly ever happened in the Bible. And when people did go to war or did get killed, it was a result of what had happened to them in their heart and their attitude as a result of previous sins or a previous sin. After Cain murdered Abel, there were no more murders. Lamech, Cain's great-great-great-great-great-grandson, killed a man, and he didn't murder him. And he was judged 77 times by God, and Cain 7 times by God. Now, that is obvious. It's facetious. Murder is the greatest sin, and it didn't hardly ever happen, and it doesn't happen very often, and they shouldn't be talking about it on the news every day because they're doing that because they think they're addressing the problem or pointing out what the problem is. But Jesus didn't do that. And it says, wherefore come out from them and be ye separate. So people who want to do something about it should follow Jesus and accept that his blood was a blood of forgiveness, crying out from the earth of forgiveness because he laid down his own life. And it was to address the problem of Abel's life being taken from him. But talking about people's life being taken from them when it's not really happening is just trivialising things. And they shouldn't be talking like that because they should regard the sanctity of real holy things like Jesus dying or really serious sins like Abel being murdered. And these things would hardly ever happen in the Bible. And people lived without committing these sins for years and years and years and years, but they were affected and scarred and tarnished by those few and far sins that actually did happen and were responsible for them.